Go ahead.
Okay, can you see good enough? You've got it zoomed in and you can see the thread?
Yes, ma'am. I know how to use this.
Good deal. Okay, this is your thread spool cap. I've got a bag of these. You need to check and make sure that it's got some resistance there or it will not hold your thread spool on. When you pick up your spool of thread to put it on, there's a little notch in your spool of thread. Make sure that that's going to the right. Your thread will get caught in that and will break. Okay, we've got our thread on our thread spool peg right there. I couldn't think what to call it for a minute. This is a thread guide. This is a thread guide. There are a couple of other thread guides. It's very important that you get your thread in each one of those thread guides. Okay, this one is the back thread guide, and you go underneath and then bring the thread around with your left hand. There's two spots that you need to get the thread in. Okay, this one you just come underneath and over, very easy. At this point, there are arrows. There's a down arrow showing you where to go, and an up arrow showing you which direction to go. You can't mess this up. There's a down arrow, an up arrow, and another down arrow. Okay, we're going to bring the thread around the tension mechanism right here. Put a couple of fingers right here, hold your thread tight, and there's a tiny little spring over on this side that you have to pull up on, and then there's a little place inside the tension mechanism that you need to catch your thread on. You can look inside right here and make sure that the thread is there, or your machine will not sew correctly. Okay, always make sure that your thread take-up lever is in the up position, and you can do that by moving the hand wheel right here and moving your needle up and down. You want it as far up as you can get. Bring your thread from right to left over the top, and the back of this little eye and the thread take-up lever is open. It looks kind of like this, so you pull your thread over and then forward, and it will go into the eye of the thread take-up lever. From there, there's another arrow that shows you to go down. There's a thread guide right at the bottom of your thread take-up lever. It's very important that your thread doesn't make an X when you get it in the thread take-up lever. Don't come from the left and then over. Always go from right to left. Okay, we've got our thread in this little thread guide right here, and to get it in there, it's kind of a little spring-shaped thing. It's in a coil. You go around and around twice. There's another thread guide right above your needle, and it's kind of hard to get the thread in, but if you'll hold your thread between your thumb and forefinger of both hands and kind of slide it up, excuse me, and behind, it will go right into that thread guide. And then, of course, the last thing is threading your needle. And I do not want to hear that you cannot thread the needle. My eyes are 48 years old and I can still do it, so I don't want to hear that. Now, something that you may need to do, if the end of your thread is a little bit fuzzy, you may need to clip the end of your thread off, just like that, and make yourself a new little thread end, and it will go in much, much easier. Now, Jason, come around here. What I'm about to do is going to require a little more fine-tuning than you can get from over there, I think. Okay, you have to have 2 sets of thread when you sew. The pieces of thread loop together like this between the layers of fabric. You can't see that. You can feel it, though, in your clothing because your clothing doesn't come apart. And if the machine is threaded right, the top is all just right, and the bottom is just right, it will be a nice, tight loop. If it's not, you may have a bunch of gunked up mess underneath, or you may have a gunked up mess on top. That means something is wrong. Now, when you sit your bobbin down on a flat surface like this, it's got some little holes in it. When you pull your thread, it should move clockwise, the direction that the hands on a clock move when it's laying down there. You're frowning, lovely. What's wrong? Oh, okay. Okay. Just pull your thread, and if the holes in the top of your bobbin move clockwise, everything is good. Now you want to leave it clockwise, move it down, and drop it in the bobbin case. There are 2 tiny little slots down here that are very hard to see. You need to get your thread in the first one, and you can feel it. You can feel it if you're in the right spot. And then pull it across to the second one. They're about 7 and 8 o'clock on the face of a clock in the bobbin case. Okay, from there, you want to pull your thread over at a right angle and close the bobbin case door. Okay, one last thing before you go any further, before you can sew. Okay, you're going to hold your needle thread out to the side, and you're going to turn your hand wheel towards you. You're going to go this way with it. You're going to turn it until the needle goes down and up one time. Okay, that loops the bobbin thread and the needle thread around each other and brings the bobbin thread up through the hole that's in the throat plate right here. That's very important. And then you will pull your threads straight back and you're ready to sew. Any questions? Okay, turn it off and I'll let you watch.